Hi class, I just wanted to give you some tips on how to get through this week's work. So just a review of the primary colors. These are the colors from which all other colors are derived, and they're red, yellow, and blue, and they make the secondary colors. So red plus yellow makes orange, etc. Tertiary colors are the third tier of colors, and they're created by mixing one primary and one secondary. So they're listed there for you to look at. In traditional paint, we used red, yellow, and blue the way you're seeing it here. And then they make green, orange, and purple. So that would be pigment-oriented paint, okay? And we call additive color our colors which are created by light. So that's what you see on your monitor or your phone or your television. And the additive primaries are slightly different. They're red, blue, and green. You see that in Photoshop. You can either have a CMYK file or a red, green, and blue file. So a red, green, and blue file is something that you're going to want, that color profile, when you're creating for the web or a display that is light driven. And then yellow, CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, and yellow, would be used for the print world, and that is subtractive primaries. Okay, so professional, let me just show you that real quick. So there you see it, cyan, magenta, and yellow, and black is the fourth one, and they make all the colors in the print world. So pigment-based colors are subtractive and light-based colors are additive. I always have to review that, so don't worry if you can't remember it. Complementary colors, those are colors that are across from one another on the color wheel. Basically it's blue and orange, red and green, yellow and purple. But you can see there's some variants of that. So this violet is the complement of a pretty yellow green. Okay? Color temperature. All the colors on this side, on the upper part of the color wheel, are considered warm as they get closer to red. So it's like the real world where the sun and fire and things that appear in those colors are warm. And then the cool colors are the ones on the bottom half of the color wheel. Okay. And then there are different color strategies to use when designing. So these are intervals. Here's parent colors creating intervals, and the blend tool in Illustrator makes this really easy. Here's analogous color intervals. These are colors that are adjacent to each other, next to each other on the color wheel. So these three here, these three here, these three here, and then all the variations. Okay, and it goes on. I'll let you look at the rest of those examples yourself. Color and the illusion of depth. So bright, highly saturated, light colors tend to come forward. Desaturated, darker colors recede in space. Some artists like to play with this phenomenon. Hans Hofmann, he was a painter and a very famous teacher in the 40s and 50s. He's one who played with that a lot. You might want to check out his work. Okay, positive and negative space, always important, but continues to be important when we consider the use of color. Design principles, gravity, focal point and gravity are both about visual weight, but in different ways. Gravity refers to things that appear to be heavier and weightier, and focal point can be anything that draws your attention initially when you look at something. Sometimes something has no focal point. A Jackson Pollock painting might not have a focal point. Most of them don't. And sometimes there's more than one focal point. Sometimes what one person sees as a focal point is different than what another person sees too. Overlapping objects help to create the illusion of depth. Diminishing size helps to create the illusion of depth. So those are important tools to remember. Okay? Looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with this week.